Welcome back to We Like That podcast.
Because we like that. I'm Joe.
And I'm Calvin.
Welcome back to We Like That podcast.
Because we like that.
How was your week?
Fine.
Okay, moving on.
I had a weird behind dream. I don't know why. I dreamed that I got into argument in a classroom with a Patti LaBelle wannabe.
Oh, Patti LaBelle wannabe.
It's a dude who had the persona of Patti LaBelle. So we called him Miss Patty. I don't know why.
How do you have the persona of Patti LaBelle? Was he gay?
He talked and looked like Patti LaBelle.
I got more questions.
But he was a short black dude.
When was this? In high school?
No, this was a dream. I don't know. I had a weird dream.
You had a dream about a man who took on the persona of Patti LaBelle. Who was short.
Yeah, so we're in class. And I guess
Who's we?
it's a bunch of kids, us in class. It's a bunch of kids. I don't know. We're just randomly in a classroom.
Did you recognize any of these kids?
No. And
were you a kid or were you an adult?
I don't even know.
Interesting.
I think I was a kid. I was a kid. I was like pretty much probably a teen.
Mm-hmm.
And I pretty much he likes to he's an asshole. So I guess this morning in class, I decided to choose war instead of peace.
Mm-hmm.
So we got into it. He was like, "What are you doing? What were you doing?" I'm like, somehow he asked me a question. I'm like, "Your mama." I was doing your mama. I was with your mama. He's like, where were you? I'm like, with your mama.
Mm-hmm.
The class goes, ooh. So then he goes at me. I go back at him. And then he's like, get out of class or whatever. I go to make peace. And when I go to hug him, I'm like,
hug him?
Yeah, I'm like, try to make peace. I'm like, you're drunk. And he's like, no, I'm not. I'm like, I smell alcohol. I smell liquor. You're drunk. You're in here teaching us, being an asshole, all of us, but you're sitting here drunk. And I think the principal comes in, and then I wake up, my alarm goes off.
You have an alarm for the weekend?
No, this is during the week.
Oh.
And that's the end of the dream. It was weird as hell. All my dreams are weird.
Interesting.
Yeah. I got into it with this dude in my dreams. I don't even know why.
Interesting.
A lot of my dreams are premonitions, though. So at some point,
you're going to turn into a teenager and have a...
No. At some point, I'm going to get into it with somebody.
As a teenager?
No. I mean, confrontation is probably coming. That's what that probably means.
It's very interesting.
Yeah. Or it could just be a crazy dream I was just having because I watched something crazy. Either or, that's my week.
That was the week? Your weird dream?
Yeah.
Interesting. My week was stressful. Ended on a stressful note. Yeah. Anyway, so have you heard of anything about the Karen Reed trial?
No.
Apparently, they may or may not have caught somebody in a lie on the stand.
Or her, or
no, not Karen. The lady that was allegedly with her when they discovered the body of that police officer. Remember, there was a woman who used to be her friend.
Was she testifying with her or
against her?
Against her. Okay.
They might have caught her in a lie. Allegedly, FBI agents came to the house, and she told the FBI agents that she needed 10 minutes, and she'd get right back to them. And in those 10 minutes, she called like 5 different people. And when the FBI agents finally questioned her, they were like, "Did you call anybody before you talked to us? Because since you needed those 10 minutes." And she said only 2 people. And she got caught on the stand lying about how many people she actually reached out to.
Oh, whatever.
But other people are saying it's very interesting that the FBI are questioning her in the first place. Because they usually don't ask questions they don't already know answers to. So I'm like, this is very, very interesting.
They're trying to see if your story is the same that it was the night or the last trial.
Right.
I don't know.
I'm interested to see what happens with this. It's still ongoing. This poor lady. They're like determined. Even with all of the corruption that has been brought up, they're still determined to try to pin it on this lady. It's very interesting. So,
Could it be that she might have done it?
well, you watched the documentary with me. What was your take after all of that?
My take is no one knows who did it.
Yeah.
That's my take.
Yeah.
There's too many variables.
Variables, you mean?
Yeah. No one knows who done it. It's a who's who of who done it.
I just think it's interesting that a lot of the people that are saying it's her are in law enforcement themselves and got rid of a lot of things. They got rid of a lot of stuff.
Who do I think did it? I don't know. The reason I say I don't know, do I believe the cops probably did some bad stuff? I don't know if it's cops being bad or cops just being negligent or lazy. I don't know. Because you look at stuff, I'm like, that's just laziness.
I'd give you negligent.
And some stuff you go,
But one, why were there animal marks on that dude's body? And why did they get rid of their dog?
Why is it? But they didn't establish that it was 100% animal.
Yeah, they did. They just couldn't establish it was 100% dog. That's what they couldn't establish. They were able to establish it was an animal.
I don't know.
And an animal with canine teeth.
I don't know. It's just too many variables. Now, are the cops making themselves look guilty? Yes.
They caught him lying on the stand several times.
Yeah.
They also were getting rid of evidence. Like the one cop that got rid of all his phone and everything on a base.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know if that's just stupidity or negligence or do the cops seem shady? Yes. But she's not helping herself neither. All she is doing is actually just playing it cool, which is working in her benefit.
I wonder why that's a ding on her, though. Why is that seen as a bad thing?
I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying she's playing it cool.
You said she's not doing anything to help either.
I don't think she's doing anything to help. Meaning, I don't think she's doing enough to plead her innocence, but the cops aren't doing enough to make her look guilty.
What does she need to do to plead her innocence to you? She needs to look more sorrowful?
I don't know. I just think because she doesn't even know what really happened. So that's another thing with me. She doesn't really know what happens. She don't know if she hit somebody or she didn't, but she says she hit something.
Mm-hmm. But she said she ran over something, not hit something.
But
so something was already in the road.
The point is she did something. Mm-hmm. She don't know what she did because she was too drunk. Mm-hmm. So that's what I'm saying.
I guess the thing that makes it weird to me is one, all of their experts turned out not to be experts on the prosecution side. Two, there was a lot of suspicion of them moving stuff, like the shards of glass from the car. How the car was hit didn't match up with like an actual collision with a person. Even how they found the body didn't match what it would look like if it had been hit by a car. Like there was a lot of inconsistencies.
And what I'm saying is the cops aren't doing a better job of making it. They're making it easier to make her look innocent because of their stupidity or negligence, whatever you want to call it. Mm-hmm. But I'm also saying she's really not doing nothing to make herself look innocent. It's more because the police are looking more incompetent each time. That's what's pretty much saving her. It's not like they haven't put up a defense on her that pleads her innocence. They're just using the police department's stupidity. That's all.
What else would they use?
I'm not saying they're wrong in doing that. I'm just saying. That's why I said I don't know.
You said they're not making a case to plead her innocence. They're making a case to say that the cops were discrepant.
Yeah. That's their whole...
So what would they do instead to prove her innocence, in your opinion?
Put her somewhere else. She knew what happened. Or she...
But she can't know what she doesn't know. You know what I mean?
But that's what I'm saying. There's still a chance that even with all the police stupidity, she could have still hit that guy. Or ran him over. She doesn't know.
But he doesn't have markings on his body to show that he got hit by a car. That was one of the discrepancies.
But then they didn't really prove that neither because it got a mistrial. So that's what I'm saying.
They got a mistrial because they couldn't agree. It wasn't because they couldn't prove anything.
And that's what I'm saying. That means they didn't prove it good enough.
No, that means that some people just didn't believe what they were seeing.
That's what I'm saying. They didn't prove it enough to make those people believe that that's what happened.
But this is also, again, in a town where it's like 100% law enforcement.
And all I'm saying is, I'm not saying she's guilty. I'm not saying she's innocent. What I'm saying is, to me, her defense team is pretty much using the fact that the police are bad at their job. Which I'm not saying that's not smart, because that's the easiest thing to do, because they are. It looks like they're very horrible at their job.
Mm-hmm.
And they might have done some shady stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look at her defense for her not doing anything, she really hasn't. Her defense is she don't remember what happened.
But
that's her defense.
She also wasn't there at the time of his death.
But they still kind of haven't really established.
They did. That's what the coroner's report said.
I don't think they did.
They did.
I don't think they did a good enough job, because I'm just saying, I don't think they did a good enough job.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that. And two, what I'm saying is irrelevant anyway, because it's not their job to prove that. It's not her job to prove that she's innocent. It's her lawyer's job to prove that she's innocent and that she didn't do anything. It's their job to prove that she's guilty. That's what I'm saying. It's their job to prove that she's guilty.
Why is it their job to prove she's guilty? Why would you hire a lawyer group that's going to prove she's guilty?
No, I'm saying it's the
prosecution.
The prosecution's job to prove that she's guilty.
Actually, that's not what they're trying to prove at all. What the state is saying, alleging, is that she had a role to play in his death. They're not necessarily saying that it's her sole. It was her sole responsibility for his death. They're saying that she had a part to play.
Then I'm done with this whole thing, because then I don't care. I thought his whole point was trying to prove that she killed this guy. I thought that was the whole damn point.
Colloquially, like locally, that's what they caught the cop saying on video.
Whatever.
We're gonna get her for this. So like, what's in like
I don't.
I want to say colloquially, but that's not it. But basically, the actual law is trying to say that she has a role, but what everybody else is saying is that she's responsible.
I think they're trying to make it that she's responsible for his death. That's what they're trying to do.
In public opinion, yes. But in the court of law, that's not what they're actually trying to do.
Then what's the point? What's the point to this trial if you're not going to say she's the one that did it?
The point of the trial is to say that she had a role to play.
Moving on. I'm done, because that makes no sense to me. Then she's innocent because you haven't shown that she has a role to play, because your incompetence has gotten her off.
I want to know how they're able to retry her. That's what I want to know. She's been through this. This is her third go at this.
Like I said, whatever.
First two were mistrials. This is their third go. How many times are they allowed to try this woman over the same thing?
Until they can get her either fully innocent or guilty.
I guess so.
But my whole takeaway is she hasn't said or done anything to prove that she's 100% innocent of whatever they're trying to charge her with.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason is because the police has done a piss poor job of showing that she is guilty of anything.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not begrudging her, or I'm not holding her at fault for taking the side or handling it like she's handling it. Mm-hmm. She's doing what she's supposed to do. It's your job.
Mm-hmm.
But all I'm saying is, for me, I haven't heard anything from her or her lawyers that said she's like innocent or had nothing to do with nothing. If she doesn't remember. So that could be like, I don't remember because I don't remember, or I don't remember because I don't want to remember. But at the end of the day, the police have done so much poor handling of this that they're making it hard for her to look guilty or hard to charge her with anything.
They're not making it hard to, so because there's a hard group of people that think she's guilty.
Yeah, well, we'll see. Maybe not. Maybe it'll be a third mistrial.
My thing is the outcome of this trial is not going to prove her innocence or her guilt either way. Some people are going to believe what they want to believe. It doesn't matter what you're told.
Sure.
Which is how she got those mistrials.
Yeah, it is what it is.
It is what it is. So, I want to know how they're finding people to be impartial. That's my question. How are you finding impartial people?
They're not impartial people. They're finding people who aren't. That's in the middle. They're trying to find people in the middle.
Crazy. Okay, anyway. Outside of that,
or they're gonna have to move the trial somewhere else.
They can't. It's within the jurisdiction of that state.
Well, then
they can't move it anywhere else.
They just got to find people who are in the middle,
or not have a jury trial. Have it be up to the judge.
I think that's what's going to end up happening eventually.
I don't know. Okay, anyway. I got another face-off for us to do. It's 1982 versus 1992. You ready?
Sure. We got 82 versus 92. Let's go.
And I want her. All right.
Interesting.
So good, cute. I really wanna meet you.
I haven't heard this song forever.
I've never heard that song. Sha 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 ba da ba da.
Okay. So what did you think so far?
First one is Stevie Wonder.
That's who you're choosing, or you're just saying that's what the song is? That Girl. Stevie Wonder, That Girl, 1982.
Remember the Time with Michael Jackson.
Yes, it is. Which one?
Remember the Time was a far bigger song. But
I like That Girl.
I'm not going to begrudge you if you pick
Stevie.
Yeah.
I like that song.
I go Remember That Time. Only because
you love Michael Jackson.
Play it more on my Spotify, but I skip it too a lot.
Okay.
That Girl, I got to be in the mood to hear it.
Okay.
But if you pick either or, I'm cool.
Okay. All right. So then we've got Evelyn Champagne King with Love Come Down. That's from 1982.
Mary J. Blige.
Yep.
Real Love.
I didn't realize that was 92.
Yes.
I thought that was 98.
No. Why would you think 98?
I just thought it was 98.
No.
Isn't What's His Face on here? Doesn't he do the rap? You know who I'm talking about.
No.
He's from Wu-Tang Clan.
Method Man?
Yes.
That's all I need. That's
gotcha.
That song. And that's 92, 93, something like that.
No, that's 98.
No, it's not.
Okay.
It's early, just like that song. Because Redman had just...
Give me your phone. I'll Google it right now.
Method Man had just come out. I mean, yeah, Method Man had just come out.
In what, 98?
92. Around 90-something. Wu-Tang Clan had just come out. So Method Man, M-A-T-H-O-D Man was hot in the streets.
What?
That all I need is 92 or 93. It's not 98. I know that for a fact.
You said it's 92 or 98?
No, it's 92 or 93. It's not 98. I know that for a fact. Because that's almost like her first. I want to say that was still her first or second album. No.
90. It's a duet song.
Yeah.
It appears on his debut. Oh, it's on his album. Tickle.
Tikal?
I guess Tikal.
His first album. So that's like 93.
No, it's 94.
94. See, yeah, that's what.
But it was released as a single in 95. So you're incorrect.
You said 98.
You said 92.
Nowhere close.
You said 92. Also nowhere close.
Nowhere close. I know it's mid to early 90s. That's all I knew.
Oh my God.
I knew it wasn't 98. I know it was 98 for sure. I know it's early.
It wasn't early. It's mid.
Sure. What's the next group of songs?
Which one did you choose? Real Love or Love Comes Down?
Real Love.
Goodness gracious. Such a hater. Okay.
Sure I am.
One Way
Nothing to do with nothing.
with Cutie Pie from 1982. And that is versus Jodeci, Come and Talk to Me. I like Cutie Pie. I'd never skip that song. I'd never skip it.
I skip both. But
there's no accounting for taste.
I'm more inclined to go with Jodeci, Come and Talk to Me.
Mm-hmm. I like Cutie Pie. It's just got good vibes. Vanity 6 with Nasty Girl in 1982. And that is versus Jade, I Wanna Love You. I love that song.
Vanity 6. It's not even close.
Who's the lead singer of Vanity 6? Quick.
What's her name? Is it Vanity?
No.
No, it's the Apollonia?
Yep.
I don't know. It's one of Prince's fine light-skinned girlfriends he had back then.
Apollonia.
Yeah.
But I love I Wanna Love You. I really like that song by Jade.
I didn't even know what that song was.
It's very cutesy. All right, then we've got Kool and the Gang, Get Down on It from 1982. Another song I thought came out in the 70s. Did not. Came out in 82. Versus Arrested Development, People Every Day. 92. I'm going to say Get Down on It.
Everyday People?
No, it's called People Every Day.
Okay.
The chorus is Everyday People, but the song is called People Every Day.
Okay. Tie.
Okay. That's it. That's all I got.
And that happened with Joe. Extended.
Not really.
Moving on to Worth the Watch. PolyFamily.
Child.
Season 1, episode 1.
Child.
And Quad We Trust.
Oh
That's
my
the name
God.
of the episode.
This is basically a show that's on TLC that is following two married couples that are dating each other. That's how they're selling this, marketing it. And they call themselves a quad. So the women are basically rotating partners, each other's husbands. The guys don't date each other. The women don't really date each other.
Quad City DJs. Oaktown 357.
Okay. So before we get into the episode, what was your overall thoughts about it?
We'll talk about that after we get into the episode.
You want to do the rundown first?
Yeah.
Okay, go for it.
So the two couples are Ashley and Tyler.
There's no Ashley. Alicia
and Tyler.
and Taya and Sean.
Yes.
How did they become a quad?
I fucking don't know. Somebody met somebody online.
Okay, so Alicia and Tyler met and got married very young. She was 18, he was 20. About 5 years into their marriage, they've been married for a total of 11 years. So about 5 years into their marriage, they talked about opening their relationship to another woman. Alicia put out an ad. It didn't go anywhere. 5 more years down the line, they talk about opening the relationship again. They get on an app and they meet Taya and Sean. For Alicia, her and Sean hit it off pretty quickly, and they developed feelings for each other pretty fast. Taya and Tyler were a little slower to come to feelings. Like physically, they met with each other and it was just a physical thing. But then slowly but surely, Tyler couldn't stop thinking about Taya, and we never hear her say it, but maybe vice versa. But he slowly but surely developed feelings for Taya. And then they decided to be a quad.
So the dynamics look like Alicia. What's her name? Alicia.
We watched this thing. You don't know her name?
Because the way I spell Alicia is totally different. The Y is killing me.
Why do you think it's Ashley, though?
The Y is killing me.
The dynamics.
It looks like Ashley, I mean,
Nope. Alicia?
Alicia might be the odd one out.
It is interesting.
You said that she doesn't know what she wants.
You said that. I didn't say that.
What'd you say?
We can get into that. We got to go to the rest of this episode. So they match up with them. They become a quadroon, if you will. Alicia and Tyler have 2 kids already. They bring those 2 kids into their quad relationship. And then somehow in the midst of all of that, 2 more kids appear for this quad family. They don't know who the fathers are. Alicia gave birth to one. Taya gave birth to one. Taya is now pregnant with their 5th. They don't know who the father is. And they choose not to know who the father is because they feel that adding that to the mix just increases insecurity and jealousy in their quad.
Which is 100% correct. But guess what? It doesn't matter because it's going to be some type of beef.
It's a lot. Okay, so speaking of Taya and Sean, they met when Taya was 18 and Sean was 36. Love that age gap.
Sean was her manager.
Yeah. She thought he was sassy, allegedly, and that made her interested. That is quite the gap. Anyway.
So someone eventually got fired. If you don't know.
Or quit. Either way. Taya is pansexual. They don't really go into what was happening with Sean and Taya. Like if they were always just open because she's pansexual or not. They don't really dive into that.
She's a Polaroid pattern.
She's a polyamorous pansexual.
So at some point, her and Alicia hooked up.
They don't say it was a hookup.
They hooked up.
I don't
Alicia
think it was.
is very uncomfortable with it.
That's what I'm saying. So I don't think they actually had sex.
I think something went down.
I think it was a grope and a makeout.
I think something went down. I think they don't talk about it because Alicia is very uncomfortable talking about it.
I think it was a grope and a makeout.
Okay. I think some carpet.
Because the way Sean said that Alicia's a female and Taya's pansexual made it sound like they did like over the clothes things, like
I think
kiss and grope.
I think some carpet got ate, and then
I don't think Alicia would ever let that happen.
It got weird.
I don't think she would do that at all.
I think that's like what happened. It got weird.
I think it got weird, but she doesn't. To me, from what we learned so far about her reactions when it comes to sex, I don't think she does oral anything. I think that's gross to her.
It got weird.
Yeah, I think it got weird for her.
She doesn't make eye contact too much.
But she also like doesn't want to hear anything about the sexcapades of her partners, like at all. It's very interesting. Anyway, but Tyler and Sean, they don't have any kind of romantic or sexual relationship. They barely have a copacetic partnership. Sean makes it very apparent that they would not be friends. They would not be in each other's lives if it weren't for the fact that their wives are dating them.
Already know where this is going to go very fast and quick. Between the men.
Fast and quick. What else? The men don't have rooms to themselves in the house. Instead, they float between the bedrooms. For the women have bedrooms. And they've set up rules where they switch off partners every day. So like on Monday, Taya might be with Tyler and Alicia's with Sean. And then on Tuesday, they'll switch. They also learned in the process of being a quad that they have to have these boundaries in place because otherwise jealousy gets flared.
Jealousy and envy bring hate.
That was so random. Sean brings up a point that they had an incident where it wasn't their assigned or scheduled day, and Taya and Tyler got caught having sex somewhere. And it hurt a lot of feelings. So they have a strict rule.
Sean went in his man closet and cried.
I don't know that Sean was necessarily affected so much as maybe Alicia.
No, Sean's affected.
You think so too?
Because you already said they both like Taya more. So he was affected.
That was my interpretation of what we saw. What was yours though?
I think
the way we looked at it, it looked like they prioritized Taya.
Yeah, he was upset because it seems like she enjoys being with
Tyler.
Tyler.
Mhm.
She just likes being with Sean.
I don't know if it's that.
When she needs to be, seems like when she needs to get something done or she needs something done, she goes to Sean.
Because he's the one who's going to take care of it.
But then when she wants to have fun and enjoy herself, she goes to Tyler.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it seems like.
That's kind of what you said.
And Sean, I think now is seeing it. And the fact that Sean and Alicia are like vinegar.
What?
They're like vinegar.
What's that mean?
They don't blend well.
With what?
With anything.
Okay.
Because
if they're both vinegar when they blend with each other?
At times they don't even blend with each other.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's like you said. I think Alicia wants to caters to people no matter what.
Okay.
So I think that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if she likes that or not.
Mm-hmm.
I think she likes whatever you like.
Okay.
So Alicia is the hardest person to understand.
Okay. Like what her wants are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because on one hand, she says she has it, but then when you catch her or something happens, you're like, but I thought that's what you wanted.
Well, what he means is there's several moments in the show where she's like a full proponent of non-monogamous relationships, but then she has these moments of insecurity where she's like, there were definite times where I didn't want my mind to wander about what Tyler and Taya are doing when I'm not there. Does he have more affection towards Taya than he does me? Are they more in love with each other than he is with me? Like, she has a lot of those uncertainties.
And I think her and Sean know it or notice it.
Taya describes it as not jealousy, but competitiveness.
Alicia has described it as that too.
No, Alicia just said that she's a very competitive person. That's what she said. But she used the word jealousy. Taya said it's not jealousy. And I feel like that's her trying to distance the word, because it's not a good word when you're in a multi-person relationship like that. It's not a great word to be attached with, because it can ruin things. So I can see why she wants to distance it and instead calls it competitiveness. But then I'm also like, why is it competitive when everybody is supposedly on the same page? Why would it be competitive? I have more questions. But anyway, so this episode, it kind of revolves around Taya's pregnancy and how she's about to be induced. She's got complications with gestational diabetes, so they're inducing labor a little early for their latest baby. What do you think of the dynamics of having all these kids and being in the squad?
It's stupid.
Is it?
Yeah. Because eventually they're going to break up and get divorced. Now they got to figure out what kid is whose.
I don't know that that's what's going to happen.
What's going to happen? What?
So
they're going to break up.
They've effectively been a quad for the last 4 years. They're working on year 5.
And they're on their last goddamn leg.
I don't know.
Yes, this show is going to make it even worse. Because they're going to have to do and say things maybe just for TV.
So they filmed this last year, and they're touring right now to promote the show. They're still together.
Sure.
I think it gets complicated if they were. I wonder if they're trapped. It
Yes.
gets complicated to break up.
Yeah, I think they're trapped.
So they're like, we're just going to go.
Because they got to figure out who is what is what we going to split, what we going to take or
But
whatever.
they also all have to be on the same page to break up. And I think it's very clear that like Tyler and Taya, they have a very strong connection.
And like I said, yeah, and I think those two are, if they do split up, those two going up together anyway. I think Sean and Alicia.
I don't know, because he also is still, as much as Alicia says that she doesn't know where she fits in, she's still a priority for Tyler. That's still his first wife.
Sure she is.
So I don't know. But anyway.
Whatever.
We get to see their dynamics. We see how Alicia is with Sean. Alicia says their love language is that she picks on him. I thought she meant being sarcastic and like critical of each other.
No.
She means literally like picking on him.
Yeah.
Like popping zits and cleaning his ears. Very interesting. But she also says that like she's never had a partner that knows what she needs before she does. And it's a nice surprise for her. And I could see her being a type A personality and being somebody who is usually the one that's taking care of everything. To have somebody else also do that for you, it takes a little bit of a load off. But it makes me wonder romantically how that affects her, like being desired. Because I think that's also what she struggles with, is how much Taya is desired by the men in their relationship in comparison to her.
Sure. I don't know. Well, it's evident. It's evident.
Okay.
It comes through the screen.
It also kind of threw me for a loop that Sean was very staunch and that like him and Tyler don't need to talk. They don't need to be on the same page. And I'm like, wouldn't you need to be? Wouldn't you need to be on the same page to make this work?
You think. You would think. But apparently no.
It's very
So
interesting.
eventually Tyler and what's her name?
Which one? There's two of them.
Not Alicia.
Taya?
Tyler and Taya are pretty much putting together the bassinet for the baby. Sean and Alicia are pretty much at the grocery store shopping.
Yeah.
And this is where you find out the dynamics between Taya and Tyler,
Mm-hmm.
how really close they are.
Mm-hmm.
I think
I would say how affectionate they are because they're very affectionate. It's like polar opposites to what we're seeing with Sean and Alicia.
Tyler also adds her sexual drive
Ads?
or as another part of emotion.
What?
Or some type of.
What?
If you listen to Tyler, it's all about sex, really, what he's saying.
When it comes to Taya.
But he adds emotion to it. Like that's an emotional thing.
What? Where does he add it at? I don't remember him saying that they emotionally connect.
He says all the time they're
He says all the time that they're very physical.
they're very
He
physical.
says that all the time.
And he's like, we get each other. We're kind of on the same on the same page with that, and she understands me, and I'm attracted, and I feel close to her. Did he ever say he loved her?
No.
But he said, I feel close to her.
No, he said it took them time to fall in love because it was literally just physical.
But he said fall in love.
But he does say fall in love.
So to me, I think he's in love with the physical.
It's been 4 years. I think he's in love with the person.
No, I think he's in love with more with the physical than the person.
I don't know. I saw him build that bassinet with her.
Yeah.
And I saw their conversation.
Yeah, you can do
and
that.
it was a very positive, like encouraging conversation.
That doesn't mean you don't care about somebody.
I'm just saying in terms of what that conversation looks like when he's talking to Alicia.
He cares about her because she's in his everyday life.
I think he cares about her, but
Yeah.
she's very logical.
I think he's
And Taya's more, even though Taya says she's not as emotional as Tyler or Alicia, she's a lot more affirming.
whatever. I think he enjoys the physical with Taya
Mm-hmm.
way more than anything.
Mm-hmm.
Because I guess her sex drive is just as high as his. Which that also puts more pressure and anxiety on Alicia.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's why she don't want to hear nothing about their sex life.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Sean want to hear about their sex life neither.
He didn't. Well, we didn't. They didn't have him sit down and say it.
He
though.
don't say, but I don't think he cares to hear. He doesn't want to hear neither. Because I don't think I think him and Alicia sex drive are similar.
Mm-hmm.
They do with it or without it.
Mm-hmm.
I think Alicia would like it more, but again,
I don't think she would.
I
I think she wants to be desired. I don't know that she's comfortable with having more sex.
I think being desired sometimes will put you in a mindset to have more sex. If you don't feel desire, you feel like you're not wanted, then you're not open to things. You're not willing to try things because you don't think that person
I think that's case by case.
And I think she would like to do it. I think it is going to take the right person to bring it out of her.
I don't think she's comfortable with any of it.
I think that it's going to take the right person to make her comfortable.
I don't think so.
Okay, whatever. I think so.
Because even if you met the right person, you still yourself have to be comfortable, like with yourself.
But
and I don't think she is.
That person can make you feel more
you
comfortable.
You are the first person to say that
vulnerable.
person can't make you do anything you don't want.
But what I'm saying is that person could help ease and make you more comfortable. That doesn't mean you're going to do it, but I think you'd be more prone to do it if that person makes you feel a little bit more comfortable. I think
that person for her is Tyler.
I think
that's who she spent the most time with.
I think Tyler was like that at first. But then I think it became more about Tyler than her.
Mm-hmm.
And I think she lost herself. Then Tyler
didn't find this couple. She did.
She found this couple, Sean and Taya. And I think when Taya and Tyler got together, Taya was his speed.
I think it's interesting that they point out that Taya and Tyler are both physical touch in their love language. I thought it was interesting.
Which was more his speed.
I thought it was interesting that she being Alicia, made it a point to say more than once that she doesn't want to feel like she can't provide something for him. She said it more than once. She doesn't be in a situation where she feels like her partner can't also get what he needs from her as well.
And I think that's how she's feeling because she sees how Tyler is with Taya.
Which, I'm not going to lie, confuses me because I thought that was the point of polyamory, was that you were able to meet other people who can meet your needs that your singular one person couldn't. That's what I thought was the point of polyamory.
No, that's not the point. The point is not to lose your partner to the other person.
I didn't say lose them. Because they don't, it's not that they fulfill everything. They just fulfill whatever the other partner doesn't.
But if that person fulfills that needs that person really desires and wants, what you think is going to happen?
But they're not monogamous. So what could possibly happen? They are not monogamous. So what could happen?
It doesn't matter. You're still territorial to some extent.
I just found it interesting because when you see Taya talking about it, she talks about how Sean fulfills a certain aspect of her life for her and how Tyler fulfills a different aspect and how it works for her to have them fill them separately.
I think she's the only one that's cool with being in this
separation,
this space. Because eventually they have a problem with her too.
I feel like Sean is comfortable. Being in that space.
I think Sean just likes being the elder.
Okay. The one that kind of controls everything.
Yeah, not the space. And I think these women, even Tyler has given the space to be a manager. That's what I think it is. To me.
It's very interesting. As somebody who's a monogamous couple, watching them try to navigate what it is to be polyamorous, especially with their own admittance that they haven't really tried this before with anybody else. This is their first couple, and they've dedicated this amount of time to make this quad work.
And that's another thing.
And they're kind of making up rules as they go.
We still don't know whether it was Tyler or Alicia's idea. Whose idea was it?
It was, the way it was presented, Alicia says they came to this decision together, but she was the one that acted on it.
Sure. Okay.
I can't help but wonder if them going into an open relationship was how she felt comfortable exploring. Because they got married so young.
Seems to me she made a decision that she thought would benefit or help her relationship.
Okay. It makes me wonder if she also was curious, which is why she brought this up.
And that could be another thing too. She could have been curious at first, and it worked for her because Tyler and Thing wasn't hitting it off.
Right, and her and Sean were, right.
But then when he started hitting it off, and her and Sean started going into okay.
It makes me wonder if Tyler needed an emotional connection to be emotionally involved like that. So then when he finally got that with Taya,
Maybe.
that's why it's working out the way that it's working out for them now, because they were able to grow into it versus Sean and Alicia, who kind of just jumped straight in. And now it's like, it is what it is, basically. It's interesting. This first episode really does make it look like it's kind of revolving around Taya. And Alicia is kind of like the odd person out.
But I also think that's a lot of because she's pregnant too.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
The previews for next week is that she may be trying to get the group to open up to a fifth person. Taya might be getting them to open up to a fifth person because she also has a potential romantic interest in another woman.
I think that's further down the line.
Okay.
But we also get a scene where Tyler and Sean have to both show up their parenting skills. So one of the kids are punished. She comes upstairs to get a snack. She's up there. Her biological father is Tyler.
Mm-hmm.
He's talking to her,
he hasn't seen the kids all day. He's trying to talk to her.
Get how see how her day was.
Yeah.
Sean is sitting there. Sean goes, well, you're not supposed to be up here. Eat your snack and go back downstairs.
Mm-hmm.
And Tyler goes.
Tyler just looks confused
and walks off
because he was literally in the middle of a conversation when Sean was like telling their daughter, go back downstairs.
So Tyler's like, I can't even have a conversation with my own child.
He corrects himself, our child.
But Sean,
and they talk about how like that's a trigger. How like for Taya and Sean, there were previous fights where Tyler and Alicia would be like, these are my kids. And they felt triggered by it because it kind of was like pulling rank. And they're all supposed to be equal.
So Tyler's like, I can't even have a conversation with my child. And Sean is like, she's punished. She needs to know that she's on punishment. And I think a lot of times you forget and she forgets, and then she gets to go back to doing what she was doing. Mm-hmm. And she needs to learn boundaries and all this stuff.
Well, yeah, she needs to know that once we put that in place, she has to follow through with it, basically. But he scolds Tyler like he's also one of the kids.
He talks to Tyler like he's one of the kids that needs to learn responsibility.
Yeah.
And I'm like...
And Tyler's like, you don't need to scold me like I'm a kid.
At the same time, too, I have to pull rank because that's actually my child.
But at the same time, they made their agreement that they weren't going to do that.
At some point, you got to go, well... agree to disagree.
I felt like the conversation should have gone, listen, because we're equal, that means that you also don't get final say. We all agree that we're equal in this, which means you also don't get final say, Sean. So even though, yes, she's on punishment and she had to go back down, I would have loved to have continued finishing my conversation with her. Maybe in the future, we have a conversation with each other so that we're on the same page. So, I'm just trying to connect with our children.
No.
Before you decide to really push that the punishment needs to be followed.
If I'm the biological father, we have a conversation, but I get final say so in what happens.
They did not agree to that.
But I'm saying that's what they're gonna have to.
That's what you want to do.
That's what they're gonna have to do.
No, they already decided to do equal.
I think they're gonna have to change. They're gonna have to adjust it because
I think he's gonna have to be a little more assertive. Sean's a very stubborn personality.
He's going to have to change it.
I don't think that's going to help because that's the reason they don't have it in place, because it created a lot of jealousy and insecurity.
Well, this way ain't helping either.
Well, it's not helping because Tyler also is not good with confrontation. He's not good at standing up for himself.
And that's why.
Which is why Sean's able to bulldoze over him all the time.
And this is why Sean likes the dynamics of these relationships. Because I think what Sean really wants is for somebody to hold what's her face? Taya's attention. But also allow him to
do what he wants to do.
Do what he wants to do and control everything.
Mm.
For the most part, he gets to pretty much say and pretty much it's like he makes the rules almost.
I wouldn't say that he makes the rules, but he's definitely the one that enforces them.
Or he enforces.
He's definitely the one that's like, we said this, so you have to do it. Like
he's the enforcer.
Yeah, he definitely does that.
And he's the enforcer. But I just think they're gonna have to adjust that, because I'm not gonna be having conversations with my child and then you come in, well, she's grounded, she needs to go. That can't work.
Well, not for you, yeah.
It's not working for him neither.
But he also isn't good at making that known. Which is why it's the way it is.
I get it, but they're gonna have to figure out something. Because it's only a minute before it gets to.
That's what Taya says. Taya says that they gotta talk. She's like, you made me and Alicia work on our relationship. You guys need to work on your relationship.
I don't think they made them work on their relationship.
I think they did.
I think it's women who were adult enough to sit down and talk. And
from the little bits that we got, it sounds like there was a lot of conflict between Taya and Alicia at first. And it sounds like there was a lot.
And I think because no matter what they tell them to, they don't have to do it.
But
I think they were adults and sat down and had a conversation.
I don't think
now, do I think they all they told the truth in those conversations or whatever? No. But I think the two women got together and had a conversation.
I think this feeds to my theory that Alicia was doing this for Tyler. I feel like Tyler's insistence, and maybe Sean's insistence, she figured out how to work with Taya.
The point is
But now it's biting her in the butt.
But the point is they came to some type of understanding.
Well, that's all the rules they came up with. They came up with all those rules.
But what I'm saying too, the women sat down and came up with some type of understanding.
But it was also at the behest of the gentleman. And so that's why Taya is using that to say that they also have to do the same thing.
But it doesn't matter. They were still women enough to come together and have the conversation.
It does matter because that's how she's pivoting her argument to Sean. We had to do that, so you guys need to also do that because we're supposed to be making this work for everybody.
I don't think the dudes are going to do that. The women were woman enough to be like, okay, cool, they did it.
I don't think the men have a choice, especially with Quentin coming in.
Yeah, they do. They continue to do what they're doing now.
No, we see the clip where they're eating lunch together. There's no ladies there. So at some point, they decide to have a sit down and have another conversation. Does it go well? That part I don't know.
Oh, sure.
But at some point, they do. So
okay,
to make it work, that's what they do. It's fascinating. It's fascinating. The show's fascinating. I know a lot of people who promote polyamory as like the end all be all when it comes to relationships. They have this whole argument how like people aren't meant to be monogamous, yada yada, blah blah blah. This is a TLC show though, so it's gonna be over dramatic. It's gonna be over dramatic. Lord knows what was edited or what was produced to create some of the storylines that they have created, but it's fascinating either way.
Sure. Yes.
Let's move on. What's the next show you want to talk about?
Concur. I just want to see what happens in the future. It's because to me, it's too many variables. You got the couples. You got one person who feels like they're already odd out. You got another person who is clocking that another person that they're brought to that's in a relationship with them is probably more compatible with the person he's married to. Then on top of that, that person is opening up to more things and more opportunities that she sees.
I found it interesting that instead of addressing and like looking for the root of where like these insecurities or these jealousy emotions come from, they avoid them completely. They made rules to just not ever broach it. That's very interesting to me.
That's not. I get it.
It's very interesting to me.
And then on top of that, you're adding kids into the mix,
which is crazy messy.
On top of that, you don't want to know who the baby father of the kids are.
That's one of my points about it being avoidant. They're like, rather than even broach it, we're just going to do. Sean's response being like, genetics don't matter unless it's for medical purposes or custody. I was like, wow, that's a very flippant attitude to this. Like, I mean, I understand you don't want to. You might have hesitancies about finding out exactly who's who. I get that. But to make it sound like it's tertiary to everything else is a little crazy to me.
So, yeah, that's the one I don't see. Because the dynamics shift all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So, let's see what happens in episode 2.
Are you actually going to watch episode 2?
Yeah.
You like the show?
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to see this.
I didn't think you would.
I want to see this whole thing explode.
I didn't think you would like it. I want to know what Taya's thinking about inviting another person. Like, why is she pursuing this other flirtation? They know they're not open. That's very interesting to me.
And I think Sean thought that Tyler would be able to
Tame that.
Yeah.
Sean's not even the one that's upset. Tyler is. Tyler's, or at least the way that it's edited for the preview for next week. It looks like Tyler's the most upset. It could be that Sean is also upset, but the way they made it look is like Tyler has the most reaction.
I think they're all upset. The only person I think it might not be upset is
Alicia.
Alicia. But who knows? Moving on to 90 Day Fiance, episode 10. Where did our love go? Starting with Armani, Ani, and Matt. So Matt is still reeling or still upset about what he was told by Armani that Ani isn't as in love with him as she is with her. And now that Matt knows that he is shell-shocked and hurt, that Armani didn't tell him that sooner, and that how can Ani do this to him? I guess
not how Ani can do this to him, but how can Amani? He's more upset with Amani than he is Ani.
He's like, at this point, I thought we were almost on the same page, but now I don't know where I stand. He calls his friend like, dude, you need to figure out something because this is how I lost my girl.
His friend. Well, his friend also mentioned it when they first said they were going to Mexico to get Ani. He was like, I also was in a polyamorous relationship. We invited another woman in. Then my girlfriends liked each other more, and I got pushed out.
So don't end up like me, sir. Friend.
He was just saying, be careful, because you guys have kids. There's a little more on this. There's a little more at stake.
So, and that's pretty much their episode of them just going.
No, it's Amani gaslighting the fuck out of him.
And trying to.
He confronts her. She's like, I don't know where this is coming from. Why? Remember the good days, Matt? He's like, what? He's like, I'm asking for your help because this isn't making sense to me. Like, what am I supposed to do? And Amani's just like,
accept it and move on. Greg and Joan. So Greg and Joan pretty much trying to figure out where they want to have their wedding.
No, they know where they want to have it.
They want to have it at the house, but Greg's mom doesn't, because she doesn't want to deal with all those people in the house. She doesn't want to do the cleanup.
She doesn't want to do
none of that stuff. That's why. Then why else did she want to have it at the house, the back house, for free?
It wouldn't have been free.
Okay, so you get some tables, some chairs, and some stuff like that.
She was saying tents, DJ, cater. She was saying a lot of big things.
Stuff that they don't want.
She wants. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So
I don't think it was that she didn't want to have it at the house. I think she wanted a big to do.
They didn't want it.
Right.
So they were like, let's have it at the house. She wants a bigger wedding, or she doesn't.
She did. She wanted a bigger wedding.
So she takes them to a venue.
She's like, it's an all-inclusive venue. They include the wedding cake, the reception area, where you a separate stage for where you guys get married, catering, everything.
And
he's like, there's no way we can afford this.
Greg, so it's like $8,900.
They said around that, yeah.
And
Greg's like, no, I have 5.
We can't afford that. And the mom goes, me and your dad will pay for it.
She tells Greg to pitch in 1,000.
And her and the mom will pay for it.
And yeah, Greg's dad and her will pay for the rest. I thought his dad was dead.
Hmm?
I thought his dad was dead.
I either thought he was dead or he just didn't want to be with her anymore.
Uh-huh.
Joan and Greg mom hug. She thanks her. They thank her. And
what did you think about Lucille's conversation around the dowry?
That's not her problem.
She thinks that Greg needs a break. She thinks that Joan and her family are asking for too much. What took me out was when they got the confessional from Greg, and he's like, this is just part of the culture in Ghana. It's been like that for thousands of years. They're not going to change it for me, Greg. My mom needs to get on board. Like, that's exact opposite of what he was saying the episode prior. It's very interesting.
Because he has to step up in some type of way.
I guess so.
To ease Joan's fears.
Mm-hmm.
Period. So I think it was more of a preservation tactic for him.
Okay.
He has to draw the line.
It was interesting.
So that's how I saw that. But he's 100% right.
Yeah.
And two, now he doesn't have to pay for a wedding.
You should be able to buy those cows.
Yeah. So he should be good to go now.
Yep.
Maddie and Stevie. They also go to Torah venue for their wedding.
Yes. Well, this is after they get the blessing from Stevie's dad. She makes a whole to-do about how she's not going to get married to Maddie unless her dad walks her down the aisle.
Her dad really didn't give his blessing. He was like, if y'all going to go do it, sure. Whatever. Y'all adults.
He's on limited time. He's like,
whatever.
I'm not going to fight her. She's very stubborn. She's going to do what she wants to do anyway.
They leave that. They go to the venue. They meet Stevie's friend at the venue. Claire. And while at the venue, Claire asks, what are you guys going to have that represents you two?
Mm-hmm. At the wedding for decoration.
For decorations. And Claire's like, you're going to have your
paintings. And Stevie's like, I don't know. And she's like, you could have my painting up there. And then she's like, just kidding. It would be mad inappropriate. And Maddie's like, his bisexual senses start tingling.
His
he doesn't have a spidey sense. He has bisexual sense.
His bisexual sense starts tingling. And
he's like, what? You did a nude of your friend Claire? And Stevie's like, yeah. And he's like, in person? Because apparently Stevie has told him most of her nudes are people sending in pictures of themselves, and that's how she does it. And he's already comfortable with her doing nudes, period. But I guess he was able to like talk himself into being okay as long as they weren't there in person. But Claire was there in person. And he's like, I think Stevie's bisexual. And if she is bisexual, we're not going to be together.
So you were sniffing that twat while he was taking that picture, huh?
No, that is so vulgar and disgusting.
You're looking at them titties, nice and supple, weren't you?
Claire has the audacity to be like, it got real awkward. And I think he's going to try to control Stevie. And it's like, what? Anyway.
Like, first of all, you made it awkward by ratting on yourself, on your friend. Thanks. And Stevie's like, we'll talk about it later.
Mm-hmm.
They get through the venue. They talk. The lady tells them what it's going to be, how they can come back and set up or whatever. He goes, thank you. They leave uncomfortably. They're walking to the car, and he's like, so are you bisexual?
Yeah.
And she never looks at him, but she looks at the camera the whole time.
She said she's not going to talk about it. She gets real snappy with him and real sarcastic. He's like, yes or no? Are you bisexual? She's like, I don't have to answer that. Yeah, no. How about that? You like that? I can't go back in time and change things. And he's just like, it's yes or no. What? Why? What? So, but she has an attitude. He got an attitude. That's where we left it.
We're going to go to Aaliyah and Sean. Aaliyah finally gets to meet Sean's side of the family.
And his friends.
And they all are shocked to meet Aaliyah.
Sean sets this up by saying that in him and Aaliyah's mind, they're doing an engagement party, but to everybody else, it's a meet and greet. And I said, what do you mean? What do you mean to everybody else? It's a meet and greet. He's like, various people know only certain amounts of information. My mom's the only one that knows the full story about me and Aaliyah. And I'm like, why? Why? Why is it like this?
They get to his mom's house. His mom greets Aaliyah with open arms.
Yeah, she's been talking to Aaliyah this entire time.
And they hug.
Aaliyah cries.
They cry.
It's very cute.
They kiss. They have
They don't kiss.
Dessert.
But mostly they get prepared for the party the next day. And at the party is when the friends are like, what is happening?
They're an hour late because Aaliyah takes
Forever.
all day to get dressed.
Yes.
Which I don't think that's new. I think that's been a thing.
Agreed.
The whole time.
Agreed. Sean should have thought about this. It told Aaliyah a certain time and told everybody else a different time so that they wouldn't have to worry about it.
So then I think the reason is a problem now because she's more feminine.
For Sean, it's a problem now that she's more feminine. For everybody else, they thought he was just casually seeing somebody, and then he comes in there and is like, "This is my fiance," and they're like, "What?"
So she
What you
meets his kids,
who are older than her,
and everybody,
and they're concerned.
And they're concerned mainly because Sean has said nothing about Aaliyah.
Well, that and the fact that Sean is now with a trans woman, and Sean has said on multiple occasions he would never do that. He would only date men.
So they're trying to figure out how this is going to work.
Also, the age gap. They're concerned about. They're concerned about this age gap. Sean's friend takes him to the side and is like, "Hey, there's a lot on Aaliyah's plate. She's newly transitioning. She's newly out there in the queer gay space. She doesn't have a job. She doesn't have a career. You had all of that. It's now behind you. You don't think that this might be an issue at some point?" And Sean's just like, "It might be. Right now it's okay. But as soon as it's not working, then, we'll deal with it at that point." And his friend's staring at him like, "But you're engaged to her." He's like, "Yeah."
Tomato, tomato.
His friend is like, engagements are and like marriages are supposed to be like forever. It's a forever thing. It's not a for now thing. And Sean's like, "Yeah."
Yeah, depends. I thought my last marriage would be forever. It wasn't.
His friend is just staring at him like, okay.
Que sera, sera.
It's so... And Sean has the audacity to be like, "Yeah, they're just very gossipy and nosy." Are they? Okay, sure. Yeah, Sean. Everybody's pointing out how not attached you are to this, not invested you are to this. And they're like, maybe not, maybe you shouldn't get married. And he's like, "Nah, I'm going to do it."
Yeah,
okay.
Because life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get.
Ridiculous.
So, that's life.
Absolutely insane.
And finishing off with Shekinah and Sarper.
Oh.
Shekinah, Sarper finally gets out of the Knights of the Round Table or the witchcraft. The witches of the...
He's able to finally leave the coven. Yeah.
He's finally able to leave the covenant.
He escaped. He won. He survived.
He survived the covenant.
He survived the coven. And
only for their spirits and their magical powers to get him later.
So that was the plan.
Because that was the plan.
That was the plan.
After, I guess a couple of weeks after.
A week. One.
A week after. Something triggers Sarper and he just loses it.
They play audio clips of a fight him and Shekinah are having. We don't get to hear the whole story. We just hear Shekinah being like, "You're being a jerk right now." And you hear Sarper being like, "Well, I'm leaving then." Basically. And then we see them in two separate locations. Shekinah is crying and packing up her esthetician stuff in her home and talking about how much she sacrificed for Sarper and how he's ungrateful. But the stuff she's saying she sacrificed was like closet space and her workspace. That's what she's saying, and she sacrificed.
All of a sudden now she's finally found a building to put her business in.
Right. She said, I'm trying to move stuff out of the house so we can actually live in our house for him. Mind you, she's doing this much later. He's already here, and she's already told him that he can't be in the house. But now all of a sudden, she's moving the stuff out. It's like, okay.
After he's probably had it.
And she feels like he is not accounting for everything that she sacrificed to be with him. And I'm like, I don't think you're accounting for everything he's
sacrificed to be with you.
What? And how dare you make me a Sarper apologist, Shekinah?
And then it sounds like they show text message or something.
She texted him. She also put it on Instagram. It's the same text she put on Instagram.
Oh, okay.
And it's just her saying like all the stuff that he's not doing. Basically, she gave him a list of all the stuff that he's not doing.
I think what happened was he asked to go or do something, and she was like, "No, I don't trust you." And I think she slipped and said she don't trust him yet. And I think
I don't think it was a slip. She's been telling him she doesn't trust him.
I think that's what set him off. He's like, "I'm here. What am I going to do? I can't do anything. I'm trapped in the house. that I can't even live in.
Right.
I can't go nowhere.
Right. But you don't want me here at the same time.
But then you don't want me here at the same time. I don't know what to do.
You're complaining that I don't have a job. We both know I can't work until we get married. What am I supposed to be doing? Also, she set a lot of challenges for him to surpass. And if he doesn't do these certain things, then he's also still not going to get married to her. So he's living in a limbo of like not knowing if he's actually going to marry to this lady. The countdown clock is going. There's only like 30-ish days left for his 90-day visa. Either he's getting married to her or he's not. He's like, do I need to be done? He almost books a flight back home. But he also checks in with himself. He knows that if he books that flight, it's done. And he doesn't want to be done just yet. But maybe he should, because this is ridiculous. Anyway. But that's where they leave it. Shekinah and Sarper aren't talking. She's upset. He's upset.
And that was 90-Day Fiance. You got anything else you want to add?
How many episodes do you think this is going to be?
Any other relationships? I think we probably got 2 more, maybe 3.
That's only episode like what, 11? I want to say.
Yeah, they
did 20 episodes for the last resort. They did 20
because I think of the people that was on it.
Ugh.
People wanted to see.
It was so long. Okay.
So I think that's why that was so long.
It was so long. Okay, go ahead.
Moving to Love During Lockup. Lockup. Episode 6. Season 6, episode 7. Don't hate the player. Hate everybody else.
No, hate the player.
I don't know why we keep putting Ashley on here. She's no longer in this.
They still showed her.
Kerfluffle.
They still showed her. They showed her crying. They showed Julius's reaction to her. And she's a big part of the conversation that Alexis has with him.
Whatever. We get back off Alexis crying in the car and going back.
After she discovered that he was talking to Ashley.
She goes back in. He says some stuff.
They're still at their date. She goes back into the bar where they were there having their game date.
He says some stuff. He says he cares about her. She shakes her head. Yes.
Honestly, you could have left it at he said some stuff because he didn't say. He didn't say anything.
Don't
meaningful.
know why she shaked her head. Yeah.
He's like, yeah, that's all in the past. What matters is now. And it's like,
my whole thing is,
okay,
I don't care what she says or does because we all know she stays with him. So it doesn't matter how much she is conflicted with herself or whatever.
It's very evident that even though she's saying the right things, she's like, I don't know. She says she's not the type to stay with somebody who don't want to stay with her. But
and
clearly,
I'm like, that's
she is.
Bold-faced lie. I'm like, you just going to lie to yourself, lying to yourself.
Basically, she's like, I'm upset. You know, I don't want to deal with other women. That's not me. Clearly she is. But she's telling him that she's not. And he's like, yeah, you're right. He's
all
like
while,
kind of taking responsibility, but also like brushing it off. Like it's very
all the while
non-committal.
All the while still texting.
Yeah, staying on that phone. So
he tells
what?
Half truths.
The producers are like, so you're gonna keep talking to other girls? And he's like, nah, I can't do that. I have a girlfriend now. I wouldn't do that. It is what it is. And then gets back on his phone. So
she goes, I think she goes back home.
Yeah, they go back to her apartment.
And she was like, so what are you going to do about your...
She said, do you want to share locations?
Trust issues.
She doesn't say that.
Until I feel more better about trusting you. Do you want to share locations? He goes, nah.
He goes, why do you need that? And she goes, because you were talking to other people. He's like, that was jail. She goes, that you brought to our lives. You went and saw her yesterday. And he goes, that was before. And just kind of talks her out of sharing locations.
Why do I care? She nods her head, yes.
She's like, promise me. She's like, promise me that you won't do something like that to hurt me again. And he goes, promise. Idiot. Anyway.
Will and Courtney. They go get their wedding outfits.
What kind of store was this?
A buy me drink store. I don't know what it was.
It looked like a souvenir shop.
What it was. A gigolo spot. I don't know.
Something. Courtney gets the most Streetwalker outfit she can find.
They pretty much get together. Courtney's mom is 100% on board, but she's like, it is what it is. I'm just gonna support her. Her sobriety person shows up.
Her AA person.
We're gonna say Bob. Bob shows up.
What do they call them? Mentor? No.
Yeah, I guess it's something like her mentor or something.
Sponsor.
Her sponsor.
Her AA sponsor's there. And he's like, I just want to thank you guys for inviting me on this momentous occasion. And Will's like, well, I need a best man. Would you be that for me? And he goes, sure.
So sponsor Bob is the best man. They're pretty much having their wedding in like a cellar, like a wine cellar, it looks like.
Yeah.
Finally, she comes down with her mom. They start the wedding proceedings.
Yes.
And did she leave or did we stop?
No, they stopped it before she answered. He's like, Will, do you? And he goes, I do. And then he goes, Courtney, do you?
Will says, I do, like she said. And then when it gets to Courtney, like she said, fades to black. And they leave it there. JK and Brooke.
Mess. Absolute mess. We pick up with the last fight that they were in, where Brooke is accusing JK of still talking to his ex, because he is. But he brushes it off. He says, I just got back on my phone. It's not like that. I love you, girl. Blah, 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 blah.
Ooh, 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 I love you.
Brooke at first isn't buying it. And she fully leaves, calls her mom, and is like, turn around. Don't bring the boys to his house. We're fighting about the fact that he's still talking to his exes. And her mom goes, get the fuck over it. I already have the kids here. We're coming to the house.
What we ain't going to do is turn around and burn gas again. That's what we ain't going to do. I'd have had these kids stuffed in this car for like an hour.
She's like, the boys are excited.
We are coming.
They're coming. But Brooke is like, no. And she's like, I don't care. You go back to the house. Talk to him.
Well, you can go back. We'll just go there.
So she does. She goes back to the house and talks to JK. They seemingly make up. He gets introduced to the boys. The boys greet him, and they're so excited to see JK, which is heartbreaking because we know that they're no longer together. But they're like, it's just exciting to have a dad. And it's like, ah. So anyway.
The mom, they have their little get together.
Brooke moves out the house.
They have they do a slideshow. Everything for his coming back home.
You don't have to mention the slideshow.
Whatever. Just let the people get sentimental.
There was no point to that slideshow outside of his family. There was really no other point.
Her mom takes the boys and goes back home.
She goes back home with Brooke. Brooke goes home with the boys. That's why his mom was like, "Oh yeah, Brooke's finally leaving."
Yeah, she leaves. The next day, JK and Brooke meet at
her house.
And he takes her to a
indoor putt-putt restaurant
game place.
It literally looks like it was a club, and they just turned it into a putt-putt place.
He's pretty much talking to her and telling her how much he loves her, and she don't have to worry about anything or whatever.
He also checks in with her emotionally. He's like, I've noticed that your reactions are really big. Is it related to your parents or anything? And she is touched by this. She is like, oh my gosh, he's checking in with my emotions.
Whatever, we go to her house and
he says he's always going to be there for the boys. Regardless of whether or not they break up, he's always going to be there for the boys.
So he goes there. She goes to clean up before she gives him a tour. He talks to her mom and the boys. Then he talks to her mom alone. And he pretty much tells her, look, I know she's going through some stuff. I know she's worried about me possibly cheating on her. But there's nobody. Wink, wink. Hint, hint.
Asterisks.
So she'll be fine.
But he also points out like a lot of her stuff is going to end up pushing him away, and his mom agrees. He's like, yeah, she's got a lot of issues.
She pushed me away.
But she's also like, if you can't handle this, then end it right now. Call it up.
Sure.
If that's the situation, end it right now.
Sure. Give me the tour. Brooke gives him a tour of the house. He leaves
and calls Alex.
And while he's leaving, he calls Alex and say, "I'm leaving Brooke, but I'll
come see you tomorrow."
And then Alex makes it a point to say, "I love you" before she hangs up, and he goes.
He giggles. He giggles.
I know.
Mess. Kiana and Demadrick are next. What did you think? We have two different opinions when it comes to the situation, by the way. So Kiana and Demadra, in case you didn't know, that's a situation where he's got 6 kids by 3 different baby mamas. Joalia is one of those baby mamas. Joalia is also the woman that he allegedly cheated on Kiana with twice. First time he had twins. Second time he had his youngest. But she has the bulk of his kids. Demadric's point of view is that he's got to keep things copacetic between the baby mama and himself so that he can see his kids.
Which is 100% true because he still hasn't seen one of his kids.
The hang up is everybody knows Joalia is still in her feelings about Demadric, is still in love with him, and is hoping to reconcile. She's hoping there's going to be a reconciliation between the two of them so they can be a full family.
Which
Demadric knows this. Kiana knows this. His family knows this. Surprisingly, his family is Team Kiana. Did not know that.
Their team, I want to see the baby.
Well,
so
because they were mad at Joalia.
Yeah, if Joala brought that baby, they wouldn't care.
No, I think they would still. Because I found it interesting that Demadric's dad was like, when Demadric was down bad, she was the only one that was like checking on him.
She had free time after her 16 jobs.
How she had free time after her 16 jobs?
She made time.
But that's what I'm saying. She made time. Joalia didn't. Joalia doesn't work.
Okay.
So.
She got 3 kids.
By the same guy.
3 little kids.
By the same guy.
I don't have time.
There's a whole family that will watch them, but she won't let them.
Okay. Whatever.
I don't understand your point. So anyway.
My point is she has business.
So does everybody else.
Okay.
And they made it work. Anyway.
Not my problem.
No one said it was your problem. No one said it was your problem. What I'm saying is, I understand Kiana's hesitation when it comes to Joalia. Kiana is very upset anytime Demadric has to spend time with Joalia. And at that party, Kiana felt like he was choosing Joalia's comfort over her own, which I had to agree with her, at least in what we saw in the edit. He was going out of his way to like really make sure Joalia was good. I understand he has to keep things copacetic because she has his kids. I understand that. But it did look like he was prioritizing Joalia over Kiana. So much so that when he has this conversation with his dad agrees with Kiana.
So what? Talk to your man.
She did. But he felt that she was overreacting. That's why he checks in with his dad, and his dad's like, you know, Kiana was doing all this stuff for you. She felt a little disrespected, and I can see where she's coming from with that. And he points out, you know, I know you got to keep things good with Joalia, but you also got to keep things good with Kiana. And that's why he gives Demadric the ring. He's like, this was Big Mama's ring. I'm going to give you that to give to Kiana. And he goes, okay, bet. And that's when we get Demadric's confessional of how, like, he has to have a relationship of some sort with Joalia, but he's allegedly in love with Kiana.
What do you want me to say?
Your point of view, because we disagreed.
He's not in love with her.
Okay.
He cares for her.
He's not in love with who? Which one?
He's not in love with Kiana.
Okay.
Like he think he is.
You think he's in love with Joalia?
No.
Oh.
I don't think he's in love with neither.
Okay.
I think these are 2 women that he can count on to be there for him when he wants to get away from the other one.
Uh-huh.
When he gets tired with Kiana, he can go to Joalia. When he gets tired of Joalia with them damn kids, he can go to Kiana.
Uh-huh.
Because they allowed him to.
Uh-huh.
Period. I want to know what I think is going to happen. He's going to get with Kiana. Him and Kiana going to get into it. And guess the first place he's going to run? Joalia.
Mm-hmm.
And guess who's going to be the welcome with open arms? Joalia.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to go there. And then he's going to get sick and tired of Joalia because she's going to demand or want things from him. And guess who he's going to be right there waiting to pick him up when he runs off?
Mm-hmm.
Kiana.
And if you're wrong?
Wrong about what?
Him actually being in love with Kiana?
That's not love.
Why do you think that?
Because you hurt. People who love somebody don't intentionally hurt them.
Mm-hmm.
It's one thing to do something and you don't know it's going to get this reaction or something that's going to cause this effect.
Mm-hmm.
But it's another thing to do something that you know is going to cause this effect. You know what the outcome is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
And he's going to do it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's going to happen. They're going to get into an argument. And he's going to run to Jawalia. It's inevitable. That's why I'm like, this doesn't matter at all. What do you think is going to happen? You think he's just going to stay with Kiana?
I do.
Sure. Okay. Moving on to Michael and Joey. This should have ended the day before Michael got out of jail. They haven't been comfortable with each other since Michael's got out. And I don't think it's going to get any better.
It's interesting because Michael had high hopes of like coming out and it being like on and popping with Joey. But Joey was like not quick to go physical. But now that Joey's a little more comfortable with Michael and he kind of wants to take it physical, it's almost like he missed the boat. Because now Michael's like, no, I'm not interested. At least in the physicality.
Yes. What you said.
Mm-hmm.
I think the issue is Joey does not want to let himself go. Because the last time he did, he ended up smoking meth.
Was it that?
I don't know what it is. He ended up doing drugs and drinking.
Okay.
He ended up falling off the horse.
Mm-hmm.
The last time he just let himself go and just had fun and enjoyed himself.
Mm-hmm.
If you notice, he said they've never had any sex
Sober.
Mm-hmm. Which I can understand his hesitancy to not want to do it sober because.
But he's sketchy around sex, period. Like Joey's scared about sex in general. So I could see why he was a little more comfortable doing it high. That makes sense to me because he was already uncomfortable with having sex.
Okay.
I don't think. Let me phrase this. He does mention that, he's never had sex sober with Michael, and that's a concern of his. But I feel like it's a convenient truth for him because he was already uncomfortable with it.
It's a crutch.
Yeah.
Okay. I have nothing to retort that. I have no comeback.
But so Michael's supposed to be meeting Joey's family, though.
Yeah. So we pick it up with Joey walking around the hotel waiting for Michael to show up so he can go meet. So Michael can go meet Joey's family.
You're supposed to meet the family at 2:00. It's like 1:50, and he's in the lobby. Like, what's going on?
So finally, Michael comes running in like a Frank the crackhead, looking for his dealer.
Yeah.
Sees him, he's like, "Okay, I'm sorry, I'm late. Whatever, whoop." And they get in the car and drive to go.
And that's where we left it. Oh, he also kind of mentions he failed a drug test and might have been kicked out of his sobriety house.
Oh yeah, I forgot about the major part. He might have failed the drug test.
We don't know if he was joking or if he's dead serious.
Honestly, I think he's dead. Dead out. I think he's straight up honest.
I got questions. Wasn't that contingent on his parole to be out there? So doesn't he go back to jail if he did that?
If they call his parole officer,
they have to. If they kicked him out the sobriety house, they have to.
I dead ass. You know what? I take that back. I dead ass think he's trying to scare the shit out of Joey. I think it's a joke. Because to me, there's no way he's gonna go to that hotel and not go on a run.
I don't know.
At that point,
I don't know. He's made it very clear he's very comfortable going back to jail. So I don't know that he would go on the run.
Well, then again, since you put it that way, I don't know.
Yeah, it's up in the air.
I don't know.
It's up in the air. Who knows?
Honestly, knowing and watching what I've seen from him so far.
Yeah. If it's real, yeah, okay. If it's not real, I
would put it past for him failing that drug test and be like, fuck it, I'm out of here. Yeah. And just going to meet his family.
Yeah.
Jacked up.
Just being like, let me get this in while I can because I'm going back. So, hi, guys. I don't know.
And that's why Joey is hesitant to do anything.
But Joey brings this on himself. Joey brings it on himself.
True.
He says it. I'm in love with an addict who lies.
I'm in love with a crackhead.
And he's like, I don't know why I do this to myself. Yeah, okay. You can stop. That's an option.
Brian and Brooklyn. 2 strong net crew.
I am not a fan of Brooklyn. I feel like she wants too much in too little time.
You know what? I'm not going to begrudge somebody who does it this way. Because
Okay.
we've seen people do it the other way all the time.
What other way? What's the other way?
Don't have no expectations or low expectations, or just allow that person to do what they want to do.
I disagree. We see people do this all the time where they jump immediately into we're family now. You need to do this, this, and that. We saw it with the girl who liked the church girl, but who also liked magic. What's her face?
Oh,
In New York.
the light skinned girl.
Yeah, her. We saw it with her.
Zebulon.
Something. We saw it with the girl who was with what's his name? I want to say Quaylon. She bought him a car. She invited him to the family and everything, and she immediately wanted him to play daddy to her little girl, and he did. He did all of that. So, in my opinion, we see this a lot.
Okay, I stand corrected. I don't think it's asking too much.
So the reason I say it's asking too much is because one, she's like mad at him for not winning over her father immediately.
That's the only thing that didn't make sense to me.
But it's the same thing with her brother. She's like, I need you to be good with my brother.
Those are the only two things that didn't make sense to me. Other than that, it is what it is. First of all, I think it's who her brother is and the way he says it to him about he needs to man up and be a man and all this stuff. I'm like, who are you to tell me how to be a man or need to be a man?
But he knew. But my thing was he knew what he was doing because he starts laughing in the middle of it. He starts he knows he's getting under his skin. Like that was the whole point, was to just make him uncomfortable.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but I'm just saying
he wasn't legitimately asking for the safety of his sister. He just wanted to be obnoxious.
And it rubbed Brian the wrong way.
Yeah.
Then Brian gets introduced to her hip hop dad.
To be fair, her dad was the most reasonable of the bunch.
Her dad was like, pretty much, it's going to take time because we don't know what he's going to do because he's confined to the house.
Right. He still doesn't have his freedom yet.
Yeah. The real challenge is going to happen when he can go past the mailbox.
Yeah.
That's when the real challenge kicks in.
Yeah.
What's going to happen then? But other than that, I have no reason not to like him.
Yeah.
Or hate him. So we'll see what happens.
That was it. That's the last couple.
And that's love during Lockup. You got anything else you want to add?
Nope. I was going to talk about PolyFamily being the show I was watching, but we ended up making it worth the watch. So, because we didn't want to watch Craven. Craven looks terrible. So.
Yeah.
You say yeah.
I'm looking at this. The couples who are not going to make it. I'm just going to put it out there. Joey and Michael, that's inevitable. Kiana and
he's sticking it to the end. They're gonna still be dating. I bet you. I put that money on the table.
God damn it! You know what? That's the one you can be right about. That's the one you can be right about. And I'm gonna give you that already.
Mm-hmm.
Kiana and Demondrick not gonna make it.
I think they're still together.
Off and on.
Turns out he was dating her at 16 when she was 12. He said 13 on the show. She was 12.
Whatever. Off and on. Yeah, they'll make it if they're off and on. Yeah.
No, they get engaged.
Yeah, they'll make it if they're off and on. They're off and on.
Mm-hmm.
Brooke and JK, we know that's not gonna work.
No, they broke up already.
Will and Courtney.
She's still wearing the ring. So in the confessionals, she's still wearing the wedding ring.
They
might
make it to the end of the season.
I don't know. They
Where
might
it
still
goes
be
from
together.
there, I think
they might still be together.
Alexis and Julius, we know, are still together. Yeah, I think
Savannah and Bradley. I think they're still together.
I think they break up.
I think they're still together.
Mm-hmm.
They have a love-hate situation.
Brian and Brooklyn, I think they're still together.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, anything else you're doing, watching, you're checking out?
Nope, my eyelids.
Same.
Mm-hmm.
Got anything else to add?
No. Bye. Thank you for listening to We Like That podcast.
So we like that.
Go ahead and click that subscribe button. You know you want to. and rate us 5 stars. I'm Javon.
I'm Calvin.
Later, people.
And we're out.